Hey you guys, it's Amy Gretchen. Welcome back. And that is also a welcome back to myself because I know that it has been a really long time since I have been on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for everyone who has reached out and direct messaged me. It really means a lot that you guys are interested in seeing my videos. I took a break and that is what I have been up to. So I'll get into that a little bit more. But right now I just want to tell you what I am working on. So I'm working on week 3 of my Project Life album from 2019. So we are starting off, hopefully trying to get this album up to date since I am not up to date in my 2019 album, or excuse me, my 2018 album. I have a lot of holes. So that's something that I'm going to be working on also as I go throughout this year. So the kit that I'm going to be using to work on this week is Ali Edwards' Story Kit Habit. And I had a lot of stories that came to my mind when it came to habit, but I wanted to show you guys that you could use her story kits and her story kit themes for absolutely any week. So this week, which was just actually a few days ago, I was out of town with some friends for one of my friends' birthdays. And so the majority of the photos are going to be from when I was out of town, just because I took a lot more photos during that trip than I did when I was actually home. And so I thought, you know, it doesn't need to be a representation of, you know, Monday through Sunday. It's okay if the majority is, you know, towards the end of the week. And then of course I could tell stories, a variety of stories from Monday to Sunday. I don't have to have a photo to go along with the story that I tell. But I just decided to do that this week actually. And you'll see that coming up as I work through this and use the supplies. But I just wanted to show you that you can take any of these kits and any of these cards and use them for any week of your life. This was a getaway. And I know that she had a kit called Rest, and this would actually have been a really great week to use that kit Rest. But I really wanted to show you guys how, like I said, you could use these kits for any week, because I just want to empower you to use the supplies that you have and the ones that you are subscribing to. You can use them for anything, whether it be Project Life or any other small album you're working on, or scrapbook page, just anything that you have in mind, you could totally use these kits for. So I decided that I wanted to use these numbers. So I really liked the numbers. I liked the size. And I thought, you know what better way to kind of tell about this story of this getaway than to highlight each photo. So I decided to go ahead and add one of the photos to each of, or excuse me, one of the numbers to each of the photos. And then you'll see later on that I end up doing 2 journaling cards that have, you know, the numbers 1 through 9. So I end up using 9 of those numbers. And I give like a sentence, maybe 2, of what was going on in that photo. And it really gives an overall feel for, you know, what this week was like and, you know, what I was up to. So anyway, you'll see that as I work through it. This is actually it's a really easy page to put together. So anyway, you guys can just kind of watch me do that as I talk to you about what I have been up to the last month, which is actually nothing creative. I've really been giving myself a break. I think after December Daily, which by the way, I'm not 100% done with, I felt like I was just going 100% and I really needed to give myself a chance to recuperate. And I did not realize that that would end up being, I guess it's been 4 weeks since my last video. So I really wanted to apologize to you guys for that. But like I had mentioned, I thank you for those who have reached out and for those who have been missing my videos. That actually means a ton to me. So I am back. I am looking forward to jumping in creatively. I have several creative goals that I've made for myself, one of which is to actually finish my December daily. I will have a couple more videos coming up. Day 19 I still have to edit that video, but that will be coming up. And then day 20 and 21 will also be coming up as well. And then I still have not done 22, 24, or 25. I still have to edit the photos from Christmas. You guys, honestly, I like shut the door of my studio and, you know, right around Christmas time. And I feel like I did not go back in because I just needed a little bit of break. So like I said, I'm back and I am ready to go. All right, so let's jump into where I'm at. So you saw that I did some journaling, and now I'm actually going to make these journaling cards. And for those 2 white cards, what I ended up doing was just taking one of the 4x6 cards that I was thinking that I probably wouldn't use and just cutting it in half. That way I didn't have to use any other paper. It's kind of nice to be able to use all of your supplies, even if it is the back, which is, you know, just like a white piece of paper. And I want to add some number, like I want to create a list, but then I also thought it kind of needed something, you know, on the top. I just didn't want it to be just the numbers. And so I saw this stamp that said, what does the stamp say? Yes, I can. I think the stamp says, yes, I can. So I decided to cut out the yes and not use the I can, because it didn't really go with my journaling. And it's really easy to cut up your stamps. It's really easy to put your stamps back together. So never be afraid to cut them up if you would like. It was a little too complicated to try and cover up the I can, so I just went ahead and cut it out. So it wasn't a big deal at all. The stamp set that I'm using here for the numbers, I believe, is from Ali Edwards. I can't remember exactly. I don't think it came with the kit. If it did, it might have been a week in the life, actually. I'll have to see if I can find it on her website, because maybe she has it digitally. This would be actually an awesome card that you could make digital. And obviously you could just do whatever numbers that you had, but it would be really easy that way if you didn't have any of the stamps. And then I just went ahead and I added a line or two. So one of the things that I also decided to do was, instead of using, you know, after cutting up that stamp and stamping it, I decided to use those rubber circles that came in the kit, the one that says yes and the one that says make it happen. So I really love that pop of blue, since there's so much blue from the sky and then also from the number 3 and 7. And then, of course, since I had already used the word yes, it just felt like a no-brainer to use that one again. So you'll see that I'll end up adhering that on and then cutting it down to size, just so the circles are not hanging off the edge. So they're just kind of interacting with the edge there. One of the things that I was debating is moving that 1 and 2 around. So I think originally the 1 and the 5 are the exact same color, and I didn't want to have them next to each other. So I had moved it. And then of course I ended up doing the journaling. And then looking at it again, I was like, you know, I really should probably just have the 1 on the very top, because that makes more sense. But then I realized that I'd already written out the journaling, and I was like, who cares? It's not a big deal. Everyone can find the number 1 and then find the number 2. So I decided not to worry about it. It wasn't a big deal. The other thing I was considering with the numbers is the placement. So you can see all the photos on the top. The numbers are actually dead center, and that's just because it worked really well that way with the photo. And I wanted to do that all the way across the board, but I didn't think that it worked great. Like the photo on the bottom, that's the cactus number 3, you kind of lost the 3 because it was similar colors. And then the photo of some of my friends, it would have covered them up, you know, since we were so little in that picture. And it just did not make sense on some of the photos to have them dead center. And so I just decided some of them will and some of them won't, and it's going to be fine. It's not something that I really need to make into a problem, right? I can just let it go and not worry about it. Now, for some people that would actually really bother them. But for me, honestly, it's all about just, you know, A, having fun, telling my stories and then getting it done, and not have to worry about whether this is going to go in a magazine, whether this looks perfect or not. Like, I am satisfied and I'm really happy with how it worked out. So if it bothers you, if you're the person that it bothers that some are in the center and some are on the side, then I would suggest doing them all in the center and hope that they will work out with your photos. But if not, then I would say just go for it, and don't let that be the thing that stops you from getting this completed, because really that's what it's all about, is having fun telling our stories and getting them completed so we have these albums that we can look through in the future. So that is my advice from today, is don't let anything hold you back from finishing. That's actually good advice for me as well, because sometimes some projects I feel like have to look a certain way. So it's a good reminder for myself as well. All right, so I am completely done with this except for my title card. And I really love the card that came in the kit. That sentiment says, happy mind, happy life. And I really love that because, of course, I 100% believe that that is true. And that's one of the habits, since we're speaking about habits, that I want to get this year or cultivate this year or really work on, is this idea of a happy mind, and really your head can create your world. And I know that sounds incredibly simple, but I think that it can be, easy is the wrong word, but is it simple? It can be that simple, right? That our minds have so much power and control over our bodies and the way that we feel. So if we can begin to control our thoughts, I really believe that it can help change our life for the positive. If we're thinking positive things, we'll be positive. If we're thinking negative things, then we will be negative. So anyway, that is just my 2 cents. I don't know why I just got on my soapbox there, but that's something that I'm trying to work on. All right, so for the title card, I just went ahead and cut out a rectangle piece of paper and then adhered it to the edge. I rounded the corners and then added that sticker that came in the kit. I think it says, "This is me," or something like that. Anyway, you guys, I am completely done with week 3. I am excited to see what you guys do with the habit kit if you are a subscriber. If not, definitely go check out Allie's website and subscribe. She's going to be having some awesome themes coming up in 2019. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye.